Okay, we shall begin with today's lecture on Bhagavad-gītā 2.20. We'll start with the prayers. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanavitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitanscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Vidina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatriyubhischa Kripa Sindhuva Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So thank you guys for joining today. If you guys are able to turn on your cameras, I would really appreciate that, so I know that I'm talking to people. If you guys are able to, thank you. Otherwise, I'll begin with the recitation of Bhagavad-gītā 2.20. If you guys know it, then you can start along with me. We have Rajayate Riyate Vakadachan Nayam Bhutva Bhavita Vanabhuya Ajo Nitya Shashvato Ayam Purano Nahanyate Hanyamane Sharire. I will share my screen. So then we can read together. Basically, what this shlok means is that for the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever-existing, and primeval. He is not slain, even when the body is slain. That means that our soul is eternal. You can't do anything with it. It's never not existed, basically. So, the purport is written by His Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada. So, all glories to him. Qualitatively, the small atomic fragmental part of the Supreme Spirit is one with the Supreme. He undergoes no changes like the body. Sometimes the soul is called the steady or kutastha. The body is subject to 6 kinds of transformations. It takes its birth from the womb of the mother's body, remains for some time, grows, produces some effects, gradually dwindles, and at last vanishes into oblivion. The soul, however, does not go through such changes. The soul is not born, but because he takes on a material body, the body takes its birth. The soul does not take birth there, and the soul does not die. Anything which has birth also has death. And because the soul has no birth, he therefore has no past, present, or future. He is eternal, ever existing, and primeval. That is, there is no trace in history of his coming into being. Under the impression of the body, we seek the history of birth, etc., of the soul. The soul does not at any time become old, as the body does. The so-called old man, therefore, he feels himself to be in the same spirit as in his childhood or youth. The changes of the body do not affect the soul. The soul does not deteriorate like a tree, nor anything material. The soul has no byproduct either. The byproducts of the body, namely children, are also different individual souls, and owing to the body, they appear as children of a particular man, because we resemble our parents. The body develops because of the soul's presence, but the soul has neither offshoots nor change. Therefore, the soul is free from the 6 changes of the body. In the Katha Upanishad, we also find a similar passage which reads, Najayate mriyate va vipaschan nayam kutaschan bhabhuvakaschat ajo nitya shashvato ayam purano nahanyate hanyamane sharire. The meaning and purport of this verse is the same as in the Bhagavad-gītā, but here in this verse there is one special word, vipaschat, which means learned or with knowledge. It's because our soul is full of knowledge. It's always full with consciousness. Therefore, consciousness is the symptom of the soul. Even if one does not find the soul within the heart where he is situated, one can still understand the presence of the soul simply by the presence of consciousness. Sometimes we do not find the sun in the sky owing to clouds, or for some other reason, but the light of the sun is always there, and we are convinced that it is therefore daytime. As soon as there is a little light in the sky early in the morning, we can understand that the sun is in the sky. Similarly, since there is some consciousness in all bodies, whether man or animal, we can understand the presence of the soul. This consciousness of the soul is, however, different from the consciousness of the Supreme, because the Supreme Consciousness is all knowledge, past, present, and future. The consciousness of the individual soul is prone to be forgetful. When he is forgetful of his real nature, he obtains education and enlightenment from the superior lessons of Krishna. But Krishna is not like the forgetful soul. If so, Krishna's teachings of Bhagavad-gītā would be useless. So, basically what we've read so far is that our soul, it doesn't go through any of the changes that we see ourselves go through. See our bodies go throughout life. We are ever existing within this body, and we will continue to have the same amount of weight. We'll have the same amount of will look the same even after we die, even though our body, it starts off very small. It takes birth from our mother's bodies, and then it grows, it goes through puberty, and then it goes and starts to become wrinkly as we get older, and then we pass away, right? So our bodies go through so many changes, but our soul will always remain the same. That's basically what we have read here. And then in the Katha Upanishad, what it's saying is that the shlok that we're reading right now is really similar to what is in the Katha Upanishad, and the only difference is that there's a word called vipashchit here. It means that we are that it refers to the word learned or with knowledge. So basically it's saying that our soul is full of knowledge, or always full with consciousness. So, which is true, because we are one with the Supreme Lord, the Supreme Lord, which is Sri Krishna, and because it's sort of like he is the full flame and we are the little sparks that emit, that are that come from the flame. So because we come from the flame, we are always full with what he has, what he is. So because we are parts and parcels of Sri Krishna. So we'll continue to read the rest of this purport. There are two kinds of souls, namely the minute particle soul, Anu Atma, and the super soul, Vibhu Atma. This is also confirmed in the Katha Upanishad 1.220 in this way. Anur Anyan Mahato Mahiyan Atmasya Jantor Nihito Guyam Tam Apritu Pashyati Vitashoko Dhatu Prasadan Mahimanam Atmanaha. Both the super soul, Paramatma, and the atomic soul, Jivatma, are situated on the same tree of the body within the same heart of the living being, and only one who has become free from all material desires as well as lamentations can, by the grace of the Supreme, understand the glories of the soul. Krishna is the fountainhead of the super soul also, as it will be disclosed in the following chapters, and Arjuna is the atomic soul, forgetful of his real nature. Therefore, he requires to be enlightened by Krishna or by his bona fides representative, the spiritual master. So in this way, we are exactly like Arjuna. We are the atomic soul. We are forgetful of who we are. And that's why we look to religion or Sanatan Dharma to be enlightened about who we are. And then we are reminded, and then we can also continue down that path and find a bona fide spiritual master. So that is what Srila Prabhupada had written for us, but I have more to talk about today, not from last time. So here are some notes that I have that I'll talk about. So the first thing is that we covered that the soul is eternal, that the soul is never born and it never dies. I'll stop sharing. And both Krishna and living beings are eternal. We are unborn and eternal. It's just that the difference is that living beings are small and can be covered by Maya. That's what the last paragraph that we just read, that last section, that's what that refers to, because we don't remember who we are. We get so covered by Maya that we need to find our way to exist and also find our way to be uncovered by that Maya, while Krishna is Ajut, which means that he never falls or becomes covered or becomes enveloped by Maya. That's basically what the full shlok refers to. So Maya is actually compared to a cloud. It covers our vision and not the sun itself. Similarly, Maya covers the consciousness of the jiva, which is us, and not the Supreme. Birth and death are results of this covering, not of the soul itself. And we have to understand that, it's obvious in some ways, but for those who don't know, God has unlimited energies, which means everything in existence is a manifestation of the Supreme's energies. So just as sunshine comes from the sun, all material and spiritual realities come from God. There are innumerable planets, universes, and living beings, which are beyond our comprehension. We must understand that all planets, including the sun, are inhabited by living beings suited to their environments. The soul cannot be burned or destroyed by fire, and that there are countless universes, each containing innumerable planets. Srila Prabhupada, in his lecture I listened to before this class to prepare for this, he talks about how a Vaishnav is para dukkha dukhi. Basically, we're pained by other suffering. It's a true devotion to be able to feel others' pains and to want other people to be liberated of their pain, even if it comes at a cost to us. So this compassion exemplifies the heart of what's called devotional philosophy, and I highly recommend you to hear Srila Prabhupada talk about this. It is really heart-touching. Birth and death, they refer to us changing bodies, and it's not it doesn't mean that there's an end of the soul. So that's why when it comes to death, I think sometimes people see us and those who have understood birth and death, they say that, oh, he hasn't died, he has just become one with the Lord. And in Hindi, it's actually, they say wo pure ho gaye, and that basically refers to the whole phenomena of becoming one with the Lord. So it just means that they didn't really die, they just ended up changing bodies, or they just ended up going back to the Lord. Our desires stored in our mind cause the soul to take another body, and that's why they say you should be really conscious of what you think about at the time of death, because either you need to be chanting until you can go back to the Lord, or whatever you're thinking about, you end up back to whatever you're thinking about. So the super soul, it accompanies the jeev and grants intelligence to fulfill any sort of past desires this way. That's why he gives you that, that's why the Lord gives you that whole, what I mean to say is, the soul is given that last chance to fulfill its past desires. Like, the Lord is so kind, because he's like, even if you don't think of me at the time of death and you don't want to come back to me, that's okay. I'll give you whatever you want. I'll take you to wherever you want. So I think he's very compassionate this way. Our bodily identification, it causes rebirth, because we're identifying either as a Brahmin, a Canadian, American, Indian, etc. It refers to us relating very much to our bodies. As long as one identifies with the body and its duties, any sort of rebirth does continue. Liberation requires freedom from these designations. So that's one of the main, you could say, themes that are frequently discussed is, are you the soul or are you the body? And how do you identify, or how do you differentiate between the two? Because the body is compared to as clothing, because we change our body so much. Our body changes throughout our lives. And like, for example, I may become like someone may lose a limb in the future or something like that. Sometimes they end up relating very much to whatever their bodily situation is, but then what really helps them is that they're just going through what God has put them through at that point, and then it's just, they have to remember that they're just a soul, and that usually that is what helps them deal with their situation. So since the dress has a shape, the soul must also have an original spiritual form. So thinking I am this body is complete ignorance, and that is what usually gives people a lot of pain. as compared to a true state of happiness, in understanding that the Lord is always with me, that I am part and parcel of the Lord, I am a soul, and anything that is happening with me is just happening with me right now, as it doesn't define who I am. And another point that Srila Prabhupada brings up is that material welfare is insufficient. What that means is that humanitarian work that we do, it ignores the soul. It's like washing a coat while a person is hungry. So spiritual hunger cannot be satisfied by material solutions alone. So that's why we tread on this path of spirituality. As long as material desires exist, the soul must take another body, and even the desire to become God or merge with the Brahman is a refined form of ego. So to have impersonal liberation, such as merging into a Brahmin, it is unstable and incomplete. So you must avoid doing that. That is what Srila Prabhupada goes and advises us for. Devotional service is safe, and it is usually the blissful path. The soul is Anandmaya, so it means pleasure seeking by nature. We are truly fulfilled when it comes to devotional service, and when we do devotional service in the spiritual world. So we must do bhakti, and bhakti begins only after we understand that we are the soul and we are not a body, and that frees us from any sort of material designations that we end up having in our mind. And lastly, what Srila Prabhupada talks about is that liberation, it means cleansing desires and identities. Sarvopadi vinir muktam. That is what it means to clean your desires and identities. So when our senses are purified and are used in Krishna's service, that is real bhakti. And that is the ultimate goal for most people, if not all devotees. The highest Vedant knowledge is understanding that Krishna is the Supreme and I am his eternal servant. So that's why we must practice this path. That's why we must practice to dedicate whatever we do for the Lord and show him that we are his eternal servant. And if we contribute things towards him, he will definitely reciprocate in our future, in our favor. So that concludes my lecture. Does anybody have any questions? No? Okay. Thank you guys. Hare Krishna Mataji. Hare Krishna. Oh, same to you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Leslie Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Chaitanya Prabhuji. Our class just ended, by the way. It did last only 30 minutes. No one had questions to ask. Okay, we will end today's session then. Panchakalpatarubhascha kripa sindhubhyo eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Have a blessed day, everyone.